welcome to the, well, not the last one, but almost last day of the innovation practice groups. And today we're here in this ecosystems and nature-based solutions session. We have Malaga with us today. And first, before we start, I'm just going to guide you through a few technical things that we always mention, just to have the right space. So we're going to ask you to please keep your microphones muted while you're not speaking. We also ask you to kindly put your cameras on because, it's always best for us to see who's in the room. Just feel like we are in a room with people and not just black cameras showing off. So please turn on your cameras. Also, we ask you if you can to rename yourselves in Zoom. If you don't know how to do this, you have a participants menu either on the bottom of your Zoom screen or in the right corner. You'd have to look for the participants menu and click on the three dots where it says rename. And what we would ask you is that you put the name of the organization, of the region that you're representing today, just so we know, again, who is in the room and who we're talking to. That'd be nice. And you also have this caption setting if you need it at some point. It's also in the bottom of your Zoom screen where you have the three dots and you need to look for captions and just enable those and disable it as you want, throughout the session. We're going to ask you to raise your hand if you want to intervene. You can always use the chat, type any questions, any comments. If you want to just intervene at some point, it's also fine, but just please raise your hand in case, the speaker is maybe not in the best moment to be interrupted, but then we'll have a discussion and we really encourage you to do so. Okay, so moving on, this is the agenda for today. So we have a quick welcoming now, just to get us a little bit, warm up. So we have a brief exercise in Miro, just as a check-in. And then we'll do an introduction to the IPGs for those of you who haven't been to any innovation practice group sessions and you're still not sure what these are about. And then we'll pass it over to our region here today, which is Malaga. And then after the presentation from Malaga, we're going to have a plenary discussion with some experts that we have in the room. We'll have some space for any questions that you have. And after that, we'll move on to a discussion open for everyone, just more, I guess, focused on peer learning from each other. So just to bring any experiences that you have from your own context or your experience if you're a practitioner working in other projects and so on. And then we'll just do a quick wrap up and a feedback survey for you to give us some inputs on the session. So first, what are innovation practice groups? So these are dynamic spaces that are designed to be knowledge exchange or like peer learning groups where we are mostly fostering this exchange of learnings among regions, but we're also creating a space where we have other stakeholders involved so that the discussions are really more diverse and we have some inputs from other places as well, so from other projects or other initiatives that are maybe not happening in the within the government context, but still are happening in other regions, and you get to learn from each other. So the idea is to connect regions to share knowledge, to create a community as we're doing these sessions, because this is all based in innovation and practice. I mean, the idea is for you to share best practices among each other and learn from each other. And in the end, it's also a space for us to foster collaboration among you. So please, take any opportunity that you have as you go through the discussions. It's always good to identify synergies and so on. So this is just to give you a quick context on the timeline. So we did a kickoff event with all the P2R cohort 1 regions in October. And we identify their challenges and their needs. And so we've tried to design the IPG sessions in a way that, they focus on these challenges and these needs. For the first round of IPGs, which happened in March 10th, we focused more on this. And then on this second week, we've really tried to get our regions to present so that we could maybe highlight their work, just to showcase more of like what they're doing in their local context. And this was really the focus of this IPG week. And we'll have a third round of IPGs coming up soon. We have no dates confirmed yet, but it's most probably going to happen sometime in September or October. So I'm actually going to jump to the Miro so that I can show you this. But we have 3 sections or 4 sections in the Miro. The first part at the top is the IPGs week calendars. I mean, it's Friday today, so you only have 1 more session in the afternoon, which we encourage you to join as well. But you have the full calendar sessions there. And then the second part that you see, the sessions content, is where we're really going to be today working and asking you to input at some point. You have also some space to drop any questions that you have for the region and so on. The wall of resources that you see down below is for you to exchange, like as you're going through discussions or even in the chat, there's always some, like other examples, templates, frameworks, case studies, even articles that you share with each other. So we created this wall of resources for you to be able to just share this and put them somewhere. And so the Miro board is going to be kept alive, let's say, throughout all of the IPG weeks. And you can always come back to this. You can always go back to the resources that someone shared, and even put any other one that you come up with as you're maybe, working on something and you realize this is something interesting. So you can always come back to the Miro board and put them here. And at the very, very bottom, it's where we'll put the final PPTs from today. So our presentation and Malaga's presentation will be here, and also the recording afterwards. Okay, so I am just, before we do this, I'm just going to jump. Let's see if you can see this. I'm going to jump to the Miro board here. Do you see my screen? Yes. Okay, so I'm going to ask you to jump to this Miro board, which we haven't shared, have we? Yeah, perfect. Thank you, Sayoa. So I'm going to ask you to go here and just pick a sticky note and choose the color according to, I don't know if you see this, but let's say the profile where you think, it represents you better. So we have policy and advocacy, technical, research, finance, other. And we're going to ask you to just write your name and the name of the organization that you're representing. So same as I ask you in the Zoom. And then please just put it in the map wherever you're based. And I'm going to do it the same here. So I'm going to put myself, oops, no, not this one actually. Sorry, this is block. All right, so let's unlock this one. Okay, now you should be able to pick it up. Actually, you need to copy it, right? So I don't know if you know how to copy. Otherwise, you can click on here and just pick another post-it like that and just write. And I'm gonna put Paloma from Climate Kick. And I am based in Murcia. So it's somewhere around here in Spain. I feel like I'm putting Murcia in the map, in the world map. Okay, everyone knows. So let's see who we have in the room. Let's see, and we have more people joining us.
And just FYI, it's the second map. So there are 2 maps, but we're in the middle of the Miro board because I can see some people hovering over the map of the first week.
Let's maybe share this link. Sorry, yeah. Let's share this one so that everyone knows. Wait a minute. So I'll just put it in the chat. Where's this? Chat. Okay, this one should take you directly to this board. But yes, great. So we have Stefan there. I see. Let's zoom in. Tabea. Say it. I mean, it's always good because we have people from everywhere, really. When you see this map, and we saw it on the first session. Barbara. Luciana. Okay. Quite a representation there. Okay. I see a lot of mouses moving around. I don't know if you can see it, but we clearly have a lot of people in the room. I'll be checking if you have also renamed yourselves in Zoom so that we can see the same that we see in the mirror happening in the room in Zoom. And if you cannot access the mirror, maybe you can also put it in the chat. That's fine. It's really for us to know who is here with us. Okay. Well, you can keep on doing that, and we're going to be using this mirror. The next part would be, as we said, the presentation. Sorry, let's block this part actually, because I see that this is getting moved. We don't want that. So the next part will be the presentation, and we have this space here where you can put the Q&A. So I'm just going to pass the word to Tabea to introduce the speakers and so on. But I just wanted you to know like where we are going to be inputting. If you have any questions, just please go to this other board right here and put your questions there, or also in the chat, and we can put them in there for you. Okay, and now back to the presentation. And Tabea, you want to take the floor?
Yes, amazing. Thank you, Paloma. If we could move to the next slide. So today we're going to hear from Malaga, and they're going to share more about their experiences with nature-based solutions and urban planning. But I won't go more into detail because we have someone from the municipality here. So if we could move to the next slide. So just to quickly introduce the speakers. So we have two experts joining us today, two practitioners, and someone from Malaga municipality. So to go from left to right, Adriana is one of our experts. She's an architect specializing in urban planning for climate resilience. She's currently a researcher on the climate change adaptation team at Tegnalia's Research and Innovation Center, focusing on spatial and urban planning for climate resilient cities and territories. She has a lot of experience in multiple European projects and works with public administrations to tackle climate risks, such as flooding, sea level rise, and heat stress through urban and spatial planning. So then in the middle, we have Alfonso from Malaga. He's going to be presenting the case study today. He's an industrial engineer who began his career at Malaga City Council in the environmental field and has specialized in areas such as energy, climate change, innovation, and smart cities. So his career has mostly focused on the local administration, and currently he's responsible for environmental sustainability in Malaga, with a large focus on the climate strategy. And last but not least, we have Jarka on the right. So she's also one of our experts today. She's a CSR professional with a journalism background, focusing on the impacts of climate change on our surroundings. And her current work focuses on monitoring urban greening in line with European standards, such as the 330-300 principle, which helps municipalities improve public space quality and build resilience to climate change. I believe I'm passing the word over to Alfonso, who's going to guide us through their experiences in Malaga.
Okay, I'm going to change.
Yeah.
I'm going to
go ahead. You should be able to
share my screen.
We can see it.
I think you can see it now. Okay. So, good morning, everyone. My name is Alfonso. I'm excited to be here today to share how Malaga is using nature-based solutions to create a healthier, more vibrant, and climate resilient city. Let's explore together how we are integrating green and blue infrastructure and how our one neighborhood is leading the way in this transformation. Before we jump in, let me give you a quick roadmap of what I'll share. First, I'll introduce the vision and the plan behind our work. Then I'll show you a concrete example in the Welling Ayala neighborhood, a real-life project that's putting these ideas into practice. And finally, I'll share the lessons we're learning, the challenge we're facing, and the opportunities we are discovering along the way. Malaga is my city, and I think it's a dynamic Mediterranean city, sunny, vibrant, and full of life. But like many urban areas, we face real challenges like rising temperatures, dense traffic, and the need to make our public spaces more equitable and healthier for everyone. Our green and blue infrastructure plan, what we call PIVAMA, lays out a strategic framework from the whole city. It's about creating a continuous network of green areas, parks, forests, streets, trees, and connecting them with blue spaces like rivers and the sea. We are a city that has very orientated to the Mediterranean Sea. We see this a way to boost biodiversity, reduce hate islands, and make public spaces more inviting for everyone, no matter where they live in the city. This plan doesn't stand alone. It's part of a bigger picture, aligning with the European Green Deal and the urban agenda for the EU. And locally, it's built on our city's urban agenda and climate plan, ensuring that our work is consistent with European and national commitment. This framework helps us balance environmental goals with social needs, because resilience isn't just about nature, it's about people too. Some of the core principles guiding our work include integrating nature into every urban project, prioritizing nature-based solutions, and always keeping equity at the center, focusing especially on the neighborhoods that need it most. For example, in Malaga, some neighborhoods have very little green spaces compared to others. This plan says every resident deserves a healthier, more comfortable environment, regardless of their postal code. We also put a big emphasis on participation, listen to communities, co-designing solutions with them, and making sure that every project reflects the local identity. Let's make this more concrete. I'd like to take you to the neighborhood of Welling Ayala, a traditional working class area with a strong identity. And it's also an area facing real challenge, a lot of traffic, noise, and the impacts of urban heat, for example. And our project for the urban renarty relation is about rethinking how street and public spaces can prioritize people and nature over cars, while respecting the vibrant community that makes this neighborhood so special. To guide this transformation, we're using what we call the germination concept. We start by identifying key communities hubs, like the market, the schools, and the local parks, and treat them as a germ or seeds of change. From these places, we grow green and social networks that span outwards, reconnecting residents with nature and each other. It's not just about trees and benches, it's about rethinking how people experience their neighborhood. Okay. So what does this look like in practice? In Welling Ayala, We are reducing car lanes to create wider sidewalk and public spaces. We are planting shade trees and creating rain gardens to manage water more sustainably. We've also designed thematic paths, safe routes for kids to get to school, green corridors that connect parks and plazas, and areas for restaurants and social life that respect both neighborhoods and visitors. One of my favorite elements is the modular green loops. There are colorful seating and planters that not only bring more green into the city, but also create new spaces for neighborhoods to meet, chat, and enjoy life outside. Before Welling Ayala was a neighborhood dominated by cars, streets were noisy, sidewalks were narrow, and there was very little space for nature or for people to walk and gather. Green spaces were limited, and the high level of traffic created both noise and air pollution. And after our intervention, the picture will be completely different. We reclaim strict space for people and nature, doing things like wide sidewalks, new green corridors, and tree and rain gardens that bring shade and biodiversity back to the neighborhood. We've made these spaces safer and more accessible, especially for children and older people. And this transformation not only cool the streets and reduce noise, but also create new places for community life, like I said before, showing how even a dense urban area like Welling Ayala can be reimagined as a model for climate resilient and social well-being. You can see in this picture, in the left side, how it is now, and in the right picture, how it will be with the different nature-based solutions that we are implementing in this area that are going to transform completely this neighborhood. Altogether, this project will transform over 90,000 square meters of public space. We expect to see cooler streets, quieter environments, and much more vibrant social life. But what excites me the most is how this transforms and strengthens the community itself. When you create spaces that invite people to walk, to rest, and play together, you build a sense of belonging and pride that goes way beyond the physical improvements. In this era of massive tourism, the way that the people can connect with each other and feel identity with their neighborhoods is very important. What we're learning in Welling Ayala doesn't stop there. It's feeding directly in our bigger green and blue infrastructure plan for the whole city. We are using data on things like accessibility, biodiversity, and ecosystem services to prioritize future intervention and to integrate these solutions in Malaga's next urban master plan. The goal is to make the transformation permanent and citywide. Of course, this isn't easy. We are constantly balancing different needs. Some people want more parking, others want bigger parks, and there's always the question of how to fund and maintain this space in the long run. In addition, we are facing such as the difficulty of implementing sustainable urban drainage systems in hyper-compact urban environment and in hyper-compact urban environment as this neighborhood is. We are also facing challenges as technical application of the nature-based solutions effectively, and the need to establish clear criteria for selecting urban expansion zones. However, there's also a lot of excitement. Residents are eager to be involved. Some join in planting trees, others share ideas for how this space can serve for their daily lives. And with the EU support and growing recognition, we have a real chance to make Malaga a model for Mediterranean resilience. I'd like to leave you with one final thought. This isn't just about climate adaptation or just urban design. It's about creating more just, more human cities, places where people feel they belong and where nature has a real presence. We believe nature-based solutions are key to this future, and we're eager to share what we're learning and to learn from all of you too, of course. So this is the end for me. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much to the team of P2R Equipment team for give us the opportunity to participate in this IPG. And I love to hear your questions, your ideas, and your own experience, because building greener, more resilient cities is something that we'll share. And so let's make it happen together. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Alfonso. It was very inspiring presentation. After seeing the presentation, I really want to visit the place and enjoy it and live it. It seems very inspiring. I would propose, if you agree, I know you may have questions for Malaga specifically, but what I would propose is just write them down. We have the discussion, expert discussion now, and after we have a dialogue between the experts and as well as Folso, then we will open the floor for everyone to ask questions, and we are going to focus mainly today in some few aspects, more on the technical considerations, on more the opportunity mapping side, and more on how to address competing priorities, for example, in spatial planning. As you mentioned, about the hyper-compact environment. So this is, I believe, something that many other cities may have the same challenges. So I will start with you, Alfonso, and you have already mentioned some of the challenges about funding, maintenance, and governance, but I would like to focus a bit more specifically on the nature-based solutions structures, like as a technical implementation solutions. And I wanted to know, you mentioned about some challenges that can be about the difficulties of implementing urban sustainable development, sustainable urban drainage systems. In Huelin, Ayala, what were the main technical challenge you encounter? Was it more identifying maybe the right nature-based solutions or identifying where you could implement them, or it was more related about these drainage problems, like to install them? Could you elaborate a bit more on this?
Yeah, I think that the main challenge is to include this nature-based solution to existing underground utilities in upper compact urban setting, balancing the need for parking and ensuring the survival of new trees in narrow street. There were also difficulties in reducing traffic capacity without losing assets. This is the things that we find more difficulties in the way that we are focus this new renovation of this area.
Okay, so then I would like to ask one of our experts, Adriana. Maybe you could try to help with your experience, based on your experience, more on what spatial planning methodologies or tools could help cities like Malaga resolve these conflicts between competing land uses, such as nature-based solutions, SUDs, parking, maybe bike paths, or just broader paths for pedestrians. Do you have any thoughts around this?
Well, first of all, thank you for the invitation, and also thank you to Alfonso for the very nice explanation. I didn't know that, I wasn't aware of the Hualin Ayala district project, and I think it was very inspiring to hear. And what I would say is, like, it's a tough question, what you're mentioning, and it's a huge challenge, because normally when we deal with hyper compact spaces in cities, that they can be eccentrical historic areas, which they don't have so much available space. As you mentioned, there are kind of competing uses for certain spaces. And my comment would be that integrate, like you were mentioning in the presentation, that you have like this integrated vision between the urban agendas and the climate plan and the nature-based solution green infrastructure strategy or projects. And what normally happens is that when you have a more like this integrative perspective, you also need to consider those plans that are not aligned with your issue, let's say. So the plan of the mobility plan or the housing or the affordable housing strategies should be also aligned with what you're saying. So for example, if the issue is going to be an accessibility matter, it might be something that you cannot do it through nature-based solutions, but it's something that you can solve through mobility or public mobility, such as buses or bicycles or pedestrian areas. On the other hand, sometimes nature-based solutions are considered a good way to change current drainage systems, but other times, due to lack of space, they might not be complementary, as you're mentioning, with traditional urban drainage systems. So finding the places where you can actually implement them and not changing, but it's an add-on where you can, let's say, maintain your current infrastructure and enhance the water capacity retention by implementing these measures, maybe even outside where you are struggling, will generate a much more permeable city. So when working with water, it also needs to be acknowledged that you might solve the problem by acting somewhere else where water is coming, that maybe you will have more space, and that will lead you to other to retaining water before it arrives to the location that you have the problem. So for that, and afterwards, I think we are maybe going to talk about that, opportunity mapping can be a good tool to see where you have the needs, but also where you can act and see if that can be solved that way. And finally, sometimes beyond nature, there are more maybe technological or hybrid approaches, like permeable pavements that are actually good for pedestrians or wheelchairs that people can go on, but they might not have so much, let's say, nature on it, but they are still good sustainable drainage systems. So maybe those technical, because of the lack of space, might help you, I would say.
Thank you very much. It's very useful, your advice.
Okay, I have another question maybe for Yarka, more we will talk a bit later on the opportunity mapping for nature-based solutions, but before going into that direction, I want to mention that Yarka has been working with the 330-300 rule on urban greening, which suggests that every resident should have at least 3 trees from their home and live in a neighborhood with 30% of canopy cover. and have a green or high quality green space no further than 300 meters. So just having her experience on this standard, I want to ask you if you have encountered successful examples of this reconciliation of space for nature with other priorities in complex urban settings, as Alfonso has mentioned.
Yeah, I think we have successful examples of balancing space for nature with other urban priorities, because probably Alfonso can confirm that they are facing with the same problem as many cities around Europe, that they would like to meet this target 300, but they are running into physical barriers. For example, what we are facing with when we are talking to the cities which are trying to lead this rule, the most difficult problem is utility networks, like infrastructure underneath, like tubes, water, electricity. And this is something what is I think the biggest problem for cities. What we can do is we are mapping and diagnosing this rule in the cities and in the neighborhoods, and we can adjust infrastructure layouts with architectural inputs to create more room for trees, for example. And what we are delivering to the cities, it's GIS layers of all these infrastructure tools, and we are covering this map with exactly the mapping of the trees. So then if they run into this physical barrier, they can see why there are not enough trees in their neighborhood, which can quite be close to the plan which you have in Malaga, because you mentioned that you would like to work with decreasing heating islands, increasing green spaces, and that can help you to follow, if you would like to follow this rule, that can help you exactly to fulfill your target, increase the green spaces, because if you will follow the rule free, the visibility of free trees from each building in this neighborhood, or accessible of 300 meters in next green space, green area, which you have planned also to do so. I guess that would be the best idea how to manage it. But these physical barriers could be successful crossed if we will be talking with urban strategies experts for each city, and also discuss with architects of the city, because if something will be under construction, then this infrastructure can be moved or can be changed a little bit, so that people will be able to create more space for tree planting.
Yeah, thank you very much. I agree in that we are using this 300 rule in our Malaga's green and blue infrastructure plans as a guideline for tree canopy, as a green spacing and cooling potential. However, we are treating as a flexible reference, not as a rigid standard, as you said, because it has to be adapted to the reality of dense Mediterranean cities with limited spaces that Malaga is.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And in a way, I mean, we have been talking a little on these competing priorities, dense urban areas, challenges, and now we will focus a bit on the potential solutions, on how a bit on the opportunity mapping for nature-based solutions, which I believe is key in solving, in achieving as much as possible. For example, this rule of 330, 300. And that can help you a bit achieving this objective, but as you mentioned, sometimes it may be challenging. I would like to start maybe with Adriana again on how can opportunity mapping support the strategies inside selection, particularly like in Malaga, where the land availability is limited. And I know you have been working in different projects like related to nature-based solutions, and maybe you also have some examples from other cities or how other cities are experiencing this. So any tip around this would be great. Thank you.
So I think like opportunity mapping becomes really relevant, not only when we map areas that, for example, they're abandoned or they have plenty of space or they have, let's say, a way of potentially they have been already recognized. You have that you should take into account and take advantage of it because it's available space that it might be easier to reconvert. But then, since also you, Alfonso, were mentioning that you are very keen on a smart, let's say the smart city concept or digital technologies, you would be able to do a much more profound analysis on opportunity mapping if you also specialize different kind of viabilities. So instead of having here like spaces like recognized as this is empty and this is empty, you would be more trying to map or recognize technical legal viability, recognizing, for example, the general master, like the general plan of the city, or other legal constraints that you might find in a space that might make it more viable or less viable. Then you could have economic viability regarding land ownership, if it's public, if it's not, etc. You could also have technical viability opportunity mapping, where actually this could become as complex as you want, but can give you valuable information, because many nature-based solutions, they have different technical requirements. So for example, certain sustainable drainage systems might be allowed to be implemented into high, let's say, with a lot of pendiente, I don't know now how to say the
slopes,
yes,
slope or hill,
that's
hilly
it,
places.
the slope, while others might be more suitable for lower slopes and so on. So this can give you just not showcasing you the opportunity, but understanding especially which are the constraints that you might have. And you could have, for example, a scoring system that allows you to track which are the constraints and which is the level of constraint of each space. And if you do so, then I would also suggest that you take advantage of the spatial plans or plans that has been specialized, like mobility or whatever, that actually might trigger or help you if you are going to build a new road, because I don't know, a certain mobility plan. Make sure that also that can become an opportunity if you negotiate it with, from an integrated perspective with different departments. Of course, this can be very challenging, I understand, but also regarding digital tools, for example, I have found nice examples where entire, I believe it is in Croatia. We're working now with Croatia, and they have a digital geoportal where all national plans until master plans, they are uploaded to this central portal, and they have the main contacts of the people working on them, and they have the spatial information, and all the document like centralized, so people can access this information. So also these kind of enablers can help you to have a, let's say, a better or a much more robust opportunity mapping?
Thank you, Adriana. I agree with you. We think that interdepartmental collaboration is essential. Co-designing plans with mobility, infrastructure, and environment teams is the only way that ensures that NBS remains central. Although our urban plan are reviewed by all departments in smaller interventions like partial plans that we call here in Spain, but it's important to explicitly require input for green spaces and park department to review and adapt designs, of course.
Thank you. I would like to hear a bit from Yarka with the mainly the main question about opportunity mapping, but since you specifically have experience with the standard like 330, 300 rule, how this rule could help identify these opportunity mappings, or if there are any tips that could guide renaturalization efforts in cities like Malaga. I think you are muted, maybe.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry. Regarding the mapping and the diagnosis tool, as I mentioned, we were following the rule 330-300, and we created a tool which is helping diagnose, the situation in the city or in the neighborhood. And we are using satellite images and orthophoto maps. And we have very successful project now in Dublin. They are trying to replant new trees and rebuild all the greenery in one exactly neighborhood, Liberties. And maybe that could be interesting also tool for you because they are comparing 10 years. They started in 2013 with some project like you do, and they are replanting trees. They are doing all the things around renaturization. They are trying to bring more green space in this neighborhood. And now we are comparing those data from 2013 with data which are actual. The data are from 2024, and we are bringing them exactly the maps in GIS file, how they are successful or not. So with this mapping, what we can bring to the city is not only the measure if the rule is fulfilled or not, but we can also give them exactly the most important information where they should focus on the map, on the neighborhood or the municipality. Where is the problem? Where are the gaps which should be prioritized for the next steps? And we have also very nice examples from Netherlands, where are people like citizens engaged, into this, because once you are doing this project in Huelin Ayala, as you mentioned, maybe it will be interesting for people to give them like small grants for the private greenery, and allows them, to go with you on, on this path. So, for example, if you will give them some small grants, they can plant on their own gardens small trees. This is exactly the example which we have from very small city next to Brno in Czech Republic. We delivered this analysis 2 weeks ago, and one of the ideas came exactly from the mayor of the city, and she said, well, when we have no space where to plant new trees, we will just give people trees, so they will plant the trees on their own gardens. And we will have this rule fulfilled, and people will have more shadow. Because what we are doing, we are not mapping only the greenery which is underneath the municipality. We are mapping all over the greenery, which is also in private sector. So if you would like to increase, green spaces, I guess maybe you can also suggest this idea to the mayors or to people who are, in charge in Malaga, and create small grants, or maybe buy some trees which that they are good for the climate conditions in Malaga, and people will plant them on their own, gardens.
I agree completely with you, but the problem that we have in this neighborhood is that all the buildings are bigger ones. They are not or no uni houses by independent houses. They're all in buildings without spaces to plant by themselves. So it's a very dense neighborhood with a lot of people living in a small spaces in high buildings. So we don't have here this
Yeah.
opportunity because we have the people that doesn't have the space
I understand
by themselves to plan things.
I understand.
So we have to find by ourselves as a city council reducing space for cars or for parking or the way that we had talked before.
In these cases, what we do in our analysis, once we are delivering this service to municipality or to some small city, we are also giving suggestions specific. Adjusted to the specific, climate space and specific area. What we can suggest, for example, I don't know, I'm not that much expert in this area, but what we can, and maybe Adriana can confirm as well. We have very good experience with green roofs, which can be also on those buildings as you mentioned. Green facades, which is quite. Helping with the cooling the air, as you mentioned in your presentation, especially in hot summers, and also maybe some vertical greenery systems. There are many things which can be provided as a cooling. Products. So this can be maybe also the solution for Malaga once you don't have enough space for replanting the trees.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much. I mean, I had some few more questions to ask, but I'm aware that there are many comments on the chat, and I think it would be good also to start sharing and have questions with other cities and other people attending today's session. So it can be also as open as possible. Paloma, I don't know, or Tabea, if you want to highlight any of the comments or questions that have been placed.
I see a lot of questions, to be honest.
Yes, that's why I thought that maybe even if I had some few more questions, I think it would be good to open the floor to other participants.
Yeah, if you want, we can just go maybe more in order, just so that we don't lose track of the ones that we've answered. And of course, we invite everyone to just voice their questions if they prefer. So I'm just going to start reading, but then you're also just welcome to raise your hand and say it out loud. So we have one here from Ivan, and says, what was the biggest challenge in the realization of the project? I take this is for Alfonso.
Okay,
Yes.
the main challenge is in implementing the Welling Ayala project has been navigating the tension between the ambitious goals of urban regeneration and the constraints of a dense, fully bullied neighborhood. And On the other hand, there's the desire to transform the area into a greener, healthier, and more vibrant place for residents. But we have real work constraints, limited space, existing utilities that can easily be moved, as we have said before, and the daily needs of people who live, work, and park there. Negotiating these different priorities while making sure that the changes are truly beneficial and welcome by the community has required a lot of listening, adapting, and technical, and also very important, financial creativity.
Thank you,
Thank
Alfonso.
you.
You're welcome.
I see that the person who wrote it got the response. That's good. How do you feel with the ownership of the land needed for the nature-based solutions and the conflict and utilities in Malaga? Maybe your screen. That way,
yeah.
let me see here.
Like I said before, most of the public spaces and street of Malaga, when we are implementing MBS, are municipal owned, which simplifies the legal aspect of land ownership. However, conflicts often arise with underground utilities, power lines, telecommunication, and so on. To address this, the city relies on detailed underground mapping in close coordination with utility providers from the very start of the design process. For new development, Malaga requires promoter incorporate suits and other green infrastructure directly into the design and handle local rainwater management on site. And so this approach prevents adding extra pressure to existing network and ensure better adaptation to the specific needs of each area.
Thank you, Alfonso. Okay, we have another one from Martina. I'm just reading through the chat, but we have them in the mirror, so I just look through this so that you can also read. So have you encountered resistance from the municipal technical staff in adopting new solutions, nature-based solutions? And if so, how to cope with this issue? And this one is...
Is for me the question?
I would
Yeah.
say so. Martina, can you confirm if this is for Alfonso?
I would say so because Martina is referring.
Sorry, yes, sorry. I was not able to open my microphone. Yes, for sure. Yes, for Alfonso. And by the way, amazing presentation and experience. Thanks.
Yeah, we have some resistance for some municipal technical staff in adapting new solution, especially in some departments that use traditional engineering approaches, and specifically the department that has to maintain these solutions and the things that these solutions brings. For example, some kind of trees, the flowers brings some kind of dirt to the floor or something like that. But I think in general, the department of the city councils are focused on this, and from 15 years to now, the people are focusing in these new ideas, and everyone, except some exceptions, are aligned to these goals.
Thank you, Alfonso. There's another one from Barbara. I don't know if you want to just say it yourself out loud, or then I can read it.
Thank you. I was wondering how fast was the implementation of the green plans at the municipal level? I mean, from the how much time passed from the strategy plan to apply to application?
It has been relatively gradual and test-wide. While we are now developing our strategy for green and blue infrastructure, the PIVAMA, as presented before, we also intervene in application like the Welling Ayala. So rolling out this pilot more broad across the city can take longer, and it's required incorporating them into planning revision and securing resources for maintenance. As I said before, some of the departments that are more difficult to get into these solutions are the maintenance department. So the process from our visions start with the PIVAMA, the plan, pilot project, and gradual scaling up. But before PIVAMA, we have also some documents regarding green corridors and other studies regarding the green areas in the city. That has been the first steps that we took to now get into the strategic plan.
Okay, thank you. And thanks for the presentation.
Thank you.
You're
Barbara.
welcome.
Hakan, do you want to ask your question directly?
Yes, I can do.
Thank you. I see.
Alfonso, thank you very much. First, and the cities also in Turkey, the cities in the coastal area have these challenges. In summertime, the population will be 10 times more. And I just try to understand if there is a correlation between nature-based solutions and this rapid population changes.
Yeah, we are now in a peak of tourism in the city that is starting to be a problem for the Malaga citizens in aspects like the house, the price of the houses, and the loss of the identity. So as I said before, the way that we can do in the neighborhoods things that make the people can connect each other will be better. And yes, Malaga faced significant seasonal population spikes, especially in summer, but it's now also increasing in every season. So the way that we think that MBS can help us to manage these fluctuations is to cooling urban areas, to managing stormwater better, enhancing public spaces, and as I said before, supporting, and I think this is the most important, supporting local identity and economy. Green spaces are attractive. Shade the Street make Malaga more appealing to tourists, but to the citizens of Malaga, that is more important for me, for example. And we need to improve their quality life and not let that the tourism make this quality life worse. But it's a difficult situation because tourism brings economy, and sometimes economy is putting upside of the quality of life. So it's a big debate in Malaga nowadays.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing, Alfonso. Okay, and for your question, Hagan. So we have another one here from, I think this is Martina again, and I don't know if she wants to voice it out, but it's this one. I can imagine
Yes, sure. If I can, yeah. As you can see, my questions are always about conflicts that can happen in such a transformative projects. So I had a first question about possible conflicts from the staff of the municipal departments, and now it's about conflicts from residents, because I can imagine that the car parking reduction was something difficult to manage because of resistance of some of part of the citizens living there. Anything you want to share about this? Thanks.
Yeah, you are absolutely right, because the buildings of this area used to be old, and they don't have parking in the subterranean areas, so the people of there has to park in the street. So reducing car parking is one of the most sensitive issues in this project. So this required a lot of careful negotiation, listen and involve residents early, and show the broader benefits. Look for the balance. The project made sure to keep some strategic located parking, especially for residents and people with mobility challenges. This balance helped to reduce resistance, and it's very important to communicate clearly. Clear communication about what was changing, why, and how its benefits the neighborhood help build acceptance, and even if it didn't fully eliminate concern. So in short, the biggest lesson in this big challenge is that just removing cars, we are improving the overall quality of life, which requires real engagement and balancing of needs.
Thanks.
Thank you, Martina. I see one more from Ivan again. So again, if you want to voice it out, just open your mic.
Hello. My question is, when you had the consultation with the interested public, how did they react to change related to change in their daily activities? Less parking place and other what is necessary to change in daily activities.
Okay, reactions were mixed at first. That is understandably, because changes to the street and green space directly affect how people live, move, and interact. So at the beginning, we have initial concerns. Many residents were worried about, as I said before, losing car parking, increased walking distance, or the impact of construction on daily routines. There are people that are also skepticism about whether the green solution will actually improve their quality of life or just be cosmetic. That is something very important in a public administration. Not let the things in the cosmetic of marketing thing. We have to make the public the right communication to the people that is activation are useful. We think that they are getting some gradual acceptance, and so it's important that the people, as I said before, show concrete benefits like shading areas, safer crossings, or improve stormwater management, and make sure that the feedback shape to the final plans. Is very important to listen to the people, combined with clear communication about the benefits, to get their opinions for real. If we take this opinion and we apply, okay, for them, and if we don't take their opinion, we have to explain them why don't do it.
Yes, one question more.
Because the people, if don't feel listen, they feel angry, and finally they forget another process, and they think the municipality do what
The wrong
they
way.
want to
Yes.
do, and don't think in the citizen. So it's very important to be listened and respond to their voices.
One more question. Are they involved from the beginning of the project? When are they involved? In the earlier phase of implementation of the project?
Yeah, we have a long history of participation, of citizen participation in Malaga, that we're trying to bring all over the project. In the first urban agenda in the 10s of 2010s, we used participations programs in almost all the significant projects that we are taking in Malaga. Like, for example, the refurbish of the old city center, or for example, the urban agenda, or that now we're upgrading our city plan. So, for example, in this aspect, we are now designing how we are going to take the voice of the people. So this is something that Malaga, I think, are doing okay for a long time, to take the voice of the people. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And we have, I saw one last comment from Adriana. So I'm going to ask her to just maybe come in and mention this.
Yeah, actually, I was thinking about, because there was also this comment on the challenge or opportunities about scaling up the idea of nature-based solution. And I was wondering if you have considered, due to the success of the pilot project, if you have considered, beyond doing very specific pilot projects that are built, also trying to maybe use some money on tactical urbanism strategies, where you can do more flexible designs to test, for example, and engage communities in those designs or in those new approaches to their neighborhoods. In the sense that, for example, if you change mobility patterns with flexible furniture, with greening, and they use that, like the road, to do public activities and so on, they might be more eager for the final implementation, and it might be faster to scale up, because the validation comes before, and you don't spend so much money at the moment, but then you rebuild it according to if it was a success or not. And also, I wanted to add the point that if you are planning to scale up nature-based solutions, or how it's going, like the vision of the city, if you have considered also, because you're talking about tourism and how the identity is getting lost, about gentrification. Green gentrification, it's a hot topic right now in the cities that have done these investments. So yeah, I would say that.
Yeah. Okay, absolutely. Tactical urbanism, like temporary interventions, pilots, and relocation of Spain, has been very useful in Malaga. Well, Barcelona's superblock, for example, are often referenced. We are using in this project also the superblock approach that help us to reorganize traffic to free up space for pedestrian and green infrastructure. So I agree with you that we need to do quick interventions to receive quick community feedback, and then scaling up when these pilots show success. It makes it easier to convince the people and also the city council to put money to secure funding for long-term green infrastructure project. So the tactical urbanism has been a key strategy for testing ideas and engaging community. So that's is a possibility to prove the value of green and people-centered space. Yeah. I don't know if I answered your question.
Yes. Like I didn't know. There was also the point of the gentrification. If you have something in mind regarding that, because it's a hot topic right now in MBS deployment.
It's very hot. Very hot. It's burning.
Okay. Well, no, there are kind of new like people is even thinking about if municipalities pay for the MBS and the regeneration of the streets, the value, the extra value that it's put into the house and how
I think that the problem. I think the problem of gentrification is bigger than the MBS, and the people are now looking for a house to live.
It's a housing problem in the end.
Yeah, it's a housing problem that block everything.
Yeah.
Now because it's very hard for people. You can imagine the younger ones because they don't have the opportunity to have a house. Malaga now is the third city in Spain in price scaling up in only Madrid and Barcelona, but in the same way. But the people in Malaga hasn't get the same money that the people in those big capitals. So there are a lot of people that are now quitting the city. The other day in the newspaper said that 20,000 people have to leave Malaga in the past year before of this problem. So I think this not only a municipal politic problem, that it's also a Spain problem that the different governments, the national, the regional, and also the local government has to face, but now, because the people are suffering now.
Thank you. Thank you very much for this nice conversation.
You're welcome.
It has been so nice and so interesting that we ran out of time for the mirror exercise, but we still have 5 more minutes. So instead of going to the mirror and spending the time, I would like to invite any participant to share your thoughts or your challenges around nature-based solutions or experiences that you would like to share.
Well, if I may, I would like to add one more thing or one more idea, which is not mine, but we took it over from the initiator of this idea, 33300 Cecil Koenigsegg. Maybe you know the name. And it's quite a reaction on how to persuade people, to some changes. And what they did, it was, I would say, not very make really tactical urbanism, but it was quite, I think, interesting strategy for people how to explain the importance of green spaces. What they did, and it's related to Barcelona, which Adriana mentioned in her comment, he took big trees in flower pots and they placed them on one square where was no trees, and people get to used to them. They created something like a small coffee place over there, and they kept those trees on this main square for a couple months, and immediately one day those trees, they just disappear and people start ask, where are those trees? We miss them. And that was something like an experiment, but that was exactly the example how they persuade people to want trees on some places, and then it was much more easier to persuade them, you know, to make some changes like regarding the parking places and etc. So as I mentioned, this is not mine experiment, but we took it from Cecil. But I think this is something what, if you show to people that is important and doesn't matter if are not just trees, but there is other solution, and you just show them, they start to use it, they start to use to the solution, and then immediately it disappear. So they will ask for it if they will like it. So maybe inspiration.
Thank you, Jerka. Any other inspirational thoughts or comment that you want to share? Otherwise, Paloma, I think we can move to the survey.
Thank you, Sayeva. So I'm just going to share in the chat the last session that we have, so you can register. It's today at 2:30, and this is for governance, engagement, and collaboration. I'm super happy with this session from Malaga. For those of you that don't know it yet, I'm from Spain, so this was really great to hear. I'm taking one big comment as I share the poll, because I don't want to forget about this. So please go on and fill that in. But one comment that I got from Alfonso, really important for me, is to actually listen to people, you know, while you're designing this and coming up with these strategies in the local place. I think it's great. I mean, I would, as someone from Spain, I would say this is something that we need everywhere, right? For us to really listen to citizens and design accordingly. So super interesting. I think clearly like the number of questions that we've got in the chat and you know, the comments show it, but please go on and fill in the survey. For us, it's super useful because we really want to know, like, if you're liking this new format and so on. So we're just gonna ask you to do that. It's only a couple of minutes, I would say. It's multiple choice. So we'll stay here for a couple of minutes, but just to wrap up the session and close the recording, I just wanted to thank Alfonso so much, also because he has been kind of on stage for quite some time today, just replying to a lot of questions, and also for the speakers that we've got with us, Yarka, Adriana, and also Sayoa and Tabia for moderating this. And everyone participating today. I know it's a Friday. Please stay with us for the last one in a couple of hours. And we'll see you, of course, for the last round of IPGs, which we'll announce at some point.
Sorry, Paloma. I know it's mainly Paloma's role, but I really want to encourage you to answer the survey, because it helps us a lot in shaping our future IPG sessions. And also, if you could provide in the chat, I guess Paloma will reach you on ideas for future IPGs. Those are also very much welcome.
Yeah, we'll be also like encouraging all the regions to share any experiences as Malaga did today. So you can expect a follow-up email with you know, the materials that we use today, the Miro board again, which is going to be open, so you can always come back to it. And we'll share a form where you can once again just, you know, kind of volunteer yourself to present at any future IPG session. But if you can also just put any topics that you think would be interesting, then at the bottom of the Miro board, there's also another like box where we put, you know, any topics you would like to explore further. This is the place. Maybe you don't have to give us any comments like on this now, but if maybe in the coming weeks you have any ideas, you can always go back to the Miro and put them there. Or if you have any ideas now, then just put them in the chat and we'll make sure to collect those ideas. And I already see 5 answers in the feedback survey, but still I know it takes a little bit of time. I don't know if anyone has any last comments before we close the recording. Anything that you want to mention before we wrap up? Otherwise, we'll stay here until you finish. But yeah, looking forward to seeing you all in the next session today. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Paloma.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Have a
Paloma.
nice
See
day.
you.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Thank you all.